My name is Dominique Brack. I'm from Switzerland. As you can see with that smiley, that's how I work. I smile most of the time. What do? I often get asked. It's very difficult to explain. Usually I get involved if it's very expensive or considered very important. That's sometimes a big difference because people consider importance differently. Effectively, I work as a senior security consultant for the largest Switzerland telecommunication provider, majority government owned, and we have about 20,000 users. I do information security stuff, not just IT security stuff. I do work for our external client base, not internally. I have good and bad relationships with internal corporate security, as you will see with some of the work I do. But I'm getting involved in it, and we have a good exchange of information. So let's have a look what I would like to walk you through today. Last year at HACK in Paris for the first time. I presented you this. And my intention was to talk to you about the social engineering engagement framework. That's a bloody mouthful, right? It was successful. I got good feedback. Also, I already limited what I would like to talk to you about, because for my view at this time the framework was very important. I did a lot of social security engineering work. I do also IT work, pen testing, gap analysis, strategic analysis, etc. And I thought, out of this work, I wanted to share my experience. And that's the whole reason for this framework. I wanted with the framework to de-risk the process of social engineering. With the framework, I wanted to give you guys out there a methodology and an approach to safely and secure execute social engineering engagements. It can be applied to social engineering or other security checks you might do. But then I realized that whole framework thing wasn't really going to cut it. So it's a bit risky, but for this time I said, no framework. So I tried to convince you the other way around. I tried to convince you using a framework and a methodology to provide high quality results and to achieve repeatable results in your testing, either if it's social engineering or if it's pen testing. What my clients want in Switzerland, they want to run a test of a certain area. Might be phishing, might be pen testing, might be social engineering. But they want to run the test again in a year. And they want to do it the same way. So they get the results, they compare actually with each other. So this time I show you social engineering stuff, and you can decide for yourself, does it make to use a framework or some support in this regard. But of course, I couldn't resist to just give you a few pointers to the framework so that you know and can relate what I'm actually talking about. This is the human to social engineer interface we developed. It has all these attributes in it you would wish as a social engineer, right? That would be my dream, having this interface. So you can set the modes on people like read all, believe all. You can put in a holdback mode. You can get them started on the emotional system, emotional response system. One for the girls, romance scams with a click. That's fantastic. Of course, you have absurdity detection off. You have the Superman mode or ego overclock. That's actually fantastic, and it works very well with people in certain positions, maybe like speakers or similar, or people which have a managerial role or so. The other one, I leave it to you, thinking with lower body parts and bullshit management mode. Of course, there is no such interface, even if I would love to. Maybe I get a Kickstarter campaign and get money to develop it. But the point was, which was also really funny, I put it out, this one out, as a press release with some nice text to it. For the first time, there is a human to social engineer interface, etc., some really nice text. I got replies, I got likes, and I actually got replies like, that's cool, tell me when it's out, I would like to test. And I said, oh, okay. They didn't get the message, I guess, or it was too cynical, one of the other. So, one of the points I discovered, which is very important, and I don't want you to go into the crime or clashing with the legal system, but I think you need to have some kind of benchmark. You need to have some kind of ethical base rules, what you're going to do. And even if it's just for yourself, how far do I go with testing? How far do I go with exploiting? How far do I go with using certain techniques? And that's plausible deniability. At every point of your engagement or your tasks, you should ask yourself this. If you're sitting in a machine room of a hotel, at the top, you should ask yourself, plausible deniability, what does it mean? Is it plausible that I'm here? Can I deny that I'm here? What is my story being here? So you need to think of all these things when you execute social engineering attacks. If you go in the machine room with a tie, it's maybe less plausible and deniable. If you go there with normal clothes and you have a clipboard, by the way, you will see clipboards are nice, they're not old school, then you have maybe a reason. Or you are plausible deniable. You can say, oh, I was there checking this, or I was there looking for that. So you need to work on these things, and during all steps, it doesn't matter where you are, think about this one. Plausible deniability. Keep that as a loop in your back. OODA loop. So, what else? A social engineer is basically your human stegosploit. You know, stegosploit can deliver your code in style. It's really cool. I talked with Sharma about stegosploit, but the human engineer, you can imagine, he's your human social engineer. He's your human stegosploit. He can carry a lot of payload, if you want to say so, figuratively speaking. More gigabytes than just a file. I also have never seen that you put the social engineers through a firewall, and definitely not me. So, no malware detection for social engineers, no anomaly detection, no behavioral detection, no firewall, nothing. So, think of a social engineer also as a tool to deliver your exploits. It's very effective. It can be even cost less because it will place what you want exactly there where you want it. So make social engineering a part of your pen testing. Here is the next one. As they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I didn't provoke the reaction I was expecting. Usually the audience says, oh, because I'm an old dog. So can we try again, please? I go back one slide. If I pop up the other one, you say, oh. Okay, let's try. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, guys. So being in the midlife crisis and, kind of regarding myself as an old dog, I would say how I define an old dog and why. When I was younger, I got a lot of spam emails about Russian babes. And if you were lucky with some sexy pictures with it, that changed. Now I'm getting pictures about Alzheimer's, bladder problems, Viagra, male enhancements. So I feel old. And I think it doesn't take long. I'm getting emails about using a deambulateur or a wheeler. Or do you want to be wiped from the planet completely, or should we put you in the recycle bin? So, there you go. All of you are younger, so make a nice career. But no, what I really wanted to do is, from this perspective, how about an old dog teaches some young dogs some old tricks? Not of this all new, fancy, techie stuff which you can go into, which is easy, supposedly easy, which is tempting. But actually, with some of this type of attack, the craftsmanship is missing. How do you craft these things? And why do you craft them this way? That, I think, has a bit lost in my view. So, that's the next slide. We just saw that at the beginning. That's one of the lessons. Tech will fail you. And I see a high affinity to technology and a high reliance on technology. So you think your exploits will work. you think your process will work, you think your firewall will work, but this stuff will fail. It's like the cheesy saying of, oh, it's not about you're getting hacked, it's about the question when stuff, right? But it is true. Think about it. The reliance on technology and the things you do, what about if the technology is not there? Or if it doesn't work? So maybe also try to incorporate, go one level down, plan some contingency in your tasks. Here I couldn't resist. That's from the framework, of course. But I think it's one of the most important tables there. It's actually risk management table from a business view. So very simple system. You have multiple levels. It's like a traffic light system, goes from green to red, even black. And each level is defined what you do or what the impact is. So if you have defined this table once, everyone in your team can work with this table. You can use it as your personal ethics control board. I mean, I work with them. I have it in my mind, but you don't have it on paper. And if you don't have it on paper, none of your team members will know, or none of your team members will know how to behave. It's if you go out there, for instance, you have a task. Try to enter a computer room and plant a magnet. All right, you can do that. You have different ways of doing it. And then maybe on the way back, the person was also involved in pen testing. You see a CD sitting on top of a server, written something with a pen on it. So it is very tempting in this situation to obtain more information than actually asked. Can be. You know, it'd be good for the penetration testing as such. You could prove, it's like, how about you do pen testing? You get the list of the networks you scan. Then you discover a network unknown. What do you do? Do you think, oh, it's in the favor of my client, I scan the unknown network too? Was it maybe unknown to you because it should be unknown to you and you should follow your paper or process? So there is risk in this process. That's a table you can give out. Also from a business perspective, I'm not talking about everything else. I'm talking about business to business, engaging with your client in social engineering. It is totally unnecessary to go above level 3. Level 4 as a group is basically, if you look at the American system, is misdemeanors, small charges, petty crime or small crime. It depends how it is in your country. And the red level are tasks maybe which are felonies. And it's definitely unnecessary to go there with your tasks or with social engineering. So this is just a table to keep in mind. What we also do, we rate our attack vectors based on this. We say, that's a green one, that's an orange one. We don't do that as a company. Or you say the other way around. I'm a company which is only doing the red level testing. Very well, you can do that. So how does it go with the framework? Quickly explained. This is the process where you start with. So I want to do information collection. Then I wanted to make. There's always make or buy. Do you buy information like Germany does about data from the taxpayers in Switzerland? They made a buy decision and bought these things. You can make a make decision, then you do it yourself. Here I was on information collection, made a make decision and active as a process, and I want recon. So what I will show here this is the start of what I call micro-tagging as an example of this. First, you have to define the data to be placed. Is it Wi-Fi passwords, login, work processes, org charts, or whatever information you want to place? And also maybe a reminder here, social engineering as an attack is always a part of a larger chain. So this is just a small element of a whole attack chain to get to your final goal or achieve the final results of your job. So for micro-tagging UV, first you define the data to be placed, then you prepare the planting object. What is it? 2D barcode, RFID tag, beacon. You check for the smallest form factor available. You UV tag it, I will tell you later why. You can use protect film. Then you apply your micro tag. Either you plant it yourself, you use an insider to do that, you use a favor. Always work on favors. Don't take money. Always say, it's okay, you do me a favor later. It works a bit like in some movies, right? So, or you can use even postal services. Send a package at a specific location where you know, will the package end up? And if no one picks it up, you can use it for whatever. So, here's the process. Then, this is le mise en place, which we call here probably, for information delivery the old school way. So that's basically all the ingredients you need to create micro tags. So there is a scotch tape, there is the ultraviolet fluid, then we do have a clipboard with the printed 2D barcodes. I already printed that out, the information I wanted to deliver. Then there's of course a phone, a UV lamp, then there's a pen, ultraviolet pen as well, a smiley that doesn't really belong there, but it's nice, and of course a lens for the mobile phone. Why ultraviolet? Ultraviolet is not glow in the dark, by the way, for everyone, but I think that's sure. Ultraviolet lights up when it's activated. And that's a specific reason for machine room information, for planting room information in machine rooms, because when you enter the machine room, it's dark, usually, like one of those lift shafts. You go in there, close the door, it's dark. And you need to find your micro tag. And the micro tag is not nano or pico tag, but still is small, right? And if it lights up, it's very easy to find it with a little lamp. So how we do that? First, you print your information, the 2D barcode, and then you test. You always test. So you test how far can you go with a standard phone. Number 3. I could go down to number 3 with reading with a 2D barcode reader on a standard mobile phone. Then I got further with the test, and I was reading with the lens. And with the lens, I could down to 5, to number 5. I could read number 6, but not well enough. If you can read, and it doesn't read the first time, you have to go one level up, of course, under operating conditions. So with the lens, I could go 2 sizes smaller. Why is that? It's just a little bit security through obscurity. So, of course, someone with the lens can read too, but not in the first place. And normally people are not carrying lenses for mobile phones around. It gives you a little protection, right? But it also makes it smaller. Then, next, I tagged the UV tag with UV fluid. In this case, it's UV ink. I do have UV ink, I have UV powder, and I have UV spray, and they are for different reasons. So here I use one of these makeup pads to actually tag the 2D barcode, so it will light up in the machine room when you're searching for it. Next step is how to carry it. Here you can see it. You can see also the size now in relation. You just use one of your plastic cards. That's the most easy thing. You put your micro tag there, you can carry it normally, and when you have to place it, you can take it out very quickly. So what else? If you start doing this type of stunts, you should think about identities. You never can escape your real identity, but I think it's important to think of your concept having different identities or personas for this type of work. Identities and personas is kind of like the gold of the future, as you say. Because it's like old whiskey, cured and real, they either cost or are worth a lot of money. And I think very important here, remember the traffic light table, don't go over green, do not assume false identities or personas or copy real companies. Because in Switzerland, for instance, if you do that, let's say you fake a driving license or you fake a diploma, that's already a felony. It's Urkundenfälschung. They don't really like that. It will give you an entry in your criminal record and all your nice government work is gone. So think about that one. You can make that stuff up. It's much easier. Here is a couple of examples. Usually the first layer is enough, as I say. I did also once as an experiment produce some nice text. I totally made up a graphic, a statistic. I put down there a link which is not working to a wrong site and published it. No one, I know I'm generalizing here, I'm sorry for that, but really, no one usually is going behind the first layer. No one clicked on that. No one looked at it. Is that true? Is that not true? It's kind of, if it's on paper, it's like the old saying, seeing is believing. They looked at it and kind of swallowed it. I did that even in some management meetings. Nobody realized. And it was evidently false. So, first layer is usually enough. Here I'm senior field operator at 64-bit rural. Here I'm principal social engineer at Fischerne. Here I'm senior field operator again at 404 Weilo. Here I'm CEO of 807 IAM Breakthrough. It took me actually 10 years to become CEO of my own company. But very well, there we go. And VP of Privacy. So, first, get the name, start thinking, use your brain, be creative. Then you can go to Fiverr, make a logo, $5. Go to GoDaddy, get a domain, $15. Go back to Fiverr for business cards for another $5. Get hosting if you need to, $30, and you're all set. And it's legal, it's not you're lying, it's my real name there and data. It's just that this I can use without any problems. If I create common companies or if I create similarities, it's a whole mess. So usually the first layer is enough. Then the shredder. Here I wanted to kind of officially release the 404 award. The shredder, that's one of these things you get to know internally when they keep me in the loop, not when they don't keep me in the loop. So he had a task, go and shred those documents, which he did. He did then go and shred those documents. He made a video as kind of proof that he has shredded those documents, which was maybe not the smartest idea. Here I can show it to you. Of course, we sent that around internally. Fantastic. He thinks it was a good idea to show you I did really shred those documents as kind of proof that he did it. But it's just a task. Yeah, this paper had to be shredded because they were at the time internal, not confidential or something else. But still, how can you dream up such a thing? Like, okay, I want to show my boss, I did the work, but you achieved a completely different result. How fantastic is this? I love it. But okay, let's look at it. Be a leader and not just a manager. I think I would like to urge to everyone, act like this. Don't be a bean counter. Don't be a policy follower. Be really a leader in what you do. Here, I had to start an investigation. I'm a certified fraud examiner. Of course, we have to investigate. Then, I concluded at the end of this investigation and decided he must go because it's against policy, which is very sad actually, but things like that happen. You have to accept it. But it's the shredder that had to go, not the person, because he was not cross-cutting. He only cut them in lengths, which is against policy. So it was not about the person here. That's what I mean, be a leader and don't be just a manager. Another one I will bore you with. You will get the link to the book at the end of the presentation. You can download the whole thing and read all these processes and methodologies and approaches. So here I wanted to start something else. I will go through with you, and it's like a menu. That's actually the graphic how to develop attack vectors. I want to have structure in developing attack vectors. I want to have high quality results with attack vectors. I want them to have developed in the same way. I would like to have them costs associated with it, because it's a business. You cannot develop an attack vector which costs $500,000. Yeah, of course you can, but it doesn't make sense. This is just this table. I used it now for what I call the art of baiting, where I will show you some examples. So first, it's like a menu. I start at the top. You know, menus when you eat here in France, 5 courses, etc. Start at the top. What I'm doing today? Oh yeah, let's do a technology-based attack vector. Then, what else? Is it remote? Or local? Yeah, I use local. I want to do some with USB sticks and stuff. On what principle do I play with this memory stick or with this attack vector? I play on the principle of curiosity. Curiosity killed the cat, right? So I want to play on curiosity. I could shoot also persuasion or other areas. Constraints, I don't have many constraints. It should not cost a lot. I want to have a high chance of success. Every attack vector you create has all these attributes. And it's like a file box. You take one out. If you need one, you close the box. You add new one. And it should be within intensity level 1 to 12. There we go. That's the mise en place for this task. So basic ingredients for baiting or make your USB sticks kick ass. On the left-hand side, we have lanyards. We have these nice little Disney figures. I have a fidget spinner. I have some keychain items. I have a rubber ducky with payload, SD card. I do have a USB kill. I have old memory sticks which are not used or thrown away. They're perfect. They look used. They have this vintage look to them that appeals to people. It's like fish in the water who like to get a bait. I do have some zip ties. Then I do have here some FIMO. I don't know if you have that too. That's take it away from your kids when they play. It's like clay. You can form it as you like, and then you have to put it in the oven, 130 degrees, for 20 minutes. You won't kill USB sticks with that, but after that it's hard, and it looks perfect for manufacturing stuff. The same is Suguru. Suguru is another version of that, and the positive there is it dries in the air. So if you have very delicate electronics to plant, you can use the other one, right? Under that are just tools to make that whole stuff happen. Knives and screwdrivers, what the hell. This is a set prepared for payload. With the memory stick, you have to decide on payload or destruction. These are payload memory stick baits. Lanyard with a super key and one of these you use for the shopping trolleys, at least in Switzerland. One with the zipper ties, just the key. And the other one is really nice. That's a real one, which is when you go paragliding or parachuting, you say you want a video, they give you this. Doesn't this look just like that fantastic in itself? Doesn't it look like tempting for you, like a fruit? If you see this on the road or on a seat next to you or in the office, how big is your attention to stick it in and check out this video? I think it's great. The other great thing is you can go paragliding or parachuting on company expense because you can argue you need those to making memory sticks. Pretty cool. Here's the fidget spinner. Let's pimp the fidget spinner. It's, if you have kids, you will know what I'm talking about. If don't, you see them everywhere. Let's pimp that one. Take it out of the packaging. Put in a memory stick. I use the yellow one. On the right-hand side, you can see I printed the packaging label in matching colors. Always when you print stuff like that, print it without the frame, because when you do the thing with the scissor, you're usually not that accurate, you will see that. So no frames, just color to the bleed outside. Easy, laser printer, print it out. Then fidget spinners, it's a hot item and wanted by everyone. And he likes it, So here we have different things coming together, which is fantastic. Usually we have a concerned daddy, if you have one. And the daddy always has this kind of hero problem. He needs to fix things. He needs to make things happen. Remote, TVs, fridge doesn't work, dishwasher. You should be, a 10 times engineer to do all these tasks, but that's what's expected from you as a daddy. Also here, if you have a concerned daddy or a security daddy, he may think, oh, no, I will test this memory stick for you. I take it out, put it in the machine, or take the CD, but then along the way maybe he thinks, like I would do actually, should I put that really into the company machine, in the corporate machine, where we have this bulldog, CISO type of guy who, screams at everyone doing wrong things? No, I put it better in mom's machine. How good is that? Because maybe mom's machine is less protected. Fantastic. Or the other version, which it could go, is even better. he gives it to a specialist who tries to figure out if this memory stick is dangerous. And maybe your payload will end up at some very interesting places. So, that's the next one I prepared. Sticky hand, $5 in a shop. Printing as well the labels, put them outside. Generating with FIMO, I would not use green, obviously, but it's better visible. Planting the USB key, the positive is the packaging is not damaged. I could even think of putting this back in the shop. Of course, think about which shop. Is it the shop in the embassy area? Is it the shop just close to the police station? The funny thing is the shop will have a problem after a while because they're selling all these items. They have revenue in their cash register, but they're always fully stocked. So you can do that maybe for 1 or 2 weeks. Next one, this little nice figure, really twisted pink Batman from Disney. So use that one to go ahead. But I was lucky because you don't know what's in the package. In the next package I get Maleficent. How fitting here for Disney, right? Maleficent had then to become the destructive one because you can decide memory stick payload or destruction. Of course she had to become this, and that's the result. It's fitting the theme. Maleficent is the destructive one. I even put the little plate there saying high voltage. And believe me, that won't stop people putting this stick in. Maybe it even encourages them because they think, oh, it's Maleficent and high voltage, maybe that little stick will glow. Yes, of course it will glow if you put that in. So, and here a little hint from the tech department. If you do this stuff, try it on your laptop. And with USB, the holes always need to be up. Because if you have an item like that, and you need to turn it around to put it in the USB slot, it may fail. So think of that one here. Here we have all together. You see in the fidget spinner, you see the printed label, looks real, and there's just a memory stick in there. And if you buy every now and then children toys, they just look messed up like this. They have a version, they put a sticker on it, they say improved version, better version, new version, whatever version, so it doesn't really change if you say it's a USB version now. Who would see that? Catch of the day. So, next is the context. You have done now all these little nice, nifty memory sticks. It's the context placement. This one now is for the girls in information security. It's the romance bait. It works well all year round, but specifically on Valentine's Day or around this time. And sometimes, as I say, or took the line from the movie, you have to go through the neck of the turtle. And it's a reference line from Big Fat Greek Wedding, where the wife of the main character says, he may be the head of the house, but I'm the neck. And the neck turns the head. So, very wise words there. We go through maybe his girlfriend, his wife, his whatever. Looks like that. Now the audience would say, oh, with this one. Nice little kitten, a nice little red bag with love on it, a little teddy bear. Oh my God, and there's a memory stick. Who would not love to put that one in, right? The thing is, if you hide your stuff too much, then people won't take it. You know, if there's a purse lying around, you will probably go through layer 1, and if there's a business card, then you would call. So if you hide your information too much in a closed bag with I don't know what and so on, it doesn't work, but these open bags are nice for that. So here is how the content could look like of this memory stick, of course. All very, very friendly files. Standard folders, some addresses, some budget, some click me HTML, okay. Then one which is supposed to be a picture, our last Christmas, and specifically maybe in this romance bag or romance bait, we have a file which is called our own XX video. Ooh, so I don't know, tempting enough? High success rate, I guess. Except you give it to your expert to read it first. But So, same thing here, little bags, little items, they could really, you go one of these $2, $5 shops, or how they called again, use that. You can use also authentic material, scrap from, I don't know, certificates you got. They look so authentic because you know why? They are authentic. So just toss it somewhere with a memory stick or a CD inside. Here's another one. I think that one would be cool too. Speaker's badge with a memory stick on it. How would you like that? And here's an example of a guy who presented at Black Hat last year, and he did a very good study, you should look at it, about the impact on planting memory stick on university campuses. And he also compared what was successful, what was less successful, and also he's offering payload on GitHub. So you can actually download his payload, play around with this one, or you can use kind of commercial product, whatever you like. It's Eli Burstein. So, what else do I have in store for you before I get wrestled down from the stage? What actually happened last year? I was running out of time, and then they come from there and will wrestle you down. So towards the end, and if time is going, I hide here, so they can't pick me. So I love clipboards, badge holders. I expect a high success rate. That's one of the attack vectors which became a level 4, which we tried and tested but don't use actually. But just to give you an idea. Here, le mise en place again. UV light, pencil, here you see the powder, here you see clipboard, aluminium, badge holders, and the leather. Leather was like this. Actually, all the orange stuff is from the World Health Organization. I just stole it there. It says, save lives. It's very cool, you know. And then, clean your hands. WHO's Global Annual Campaign Advocacy Kit. That sounds very official and cool. In the box down there it says, we want to maintain and raise the profile of hand hygiene in healthcare every day of the year. Together we can achieve these goals. And in the middle is my text then. Try if your hands are clean. Use the attached UV light to test your hand washing works. If your hands light up under the UV light, use the following link to get more information. And your friendly social engineer will help, of course, or send an email to a specific email address. So, now we did that, placed that with the Suguru or clipboard, and we placed it in the restroom, of course. That's where such things belong. But then you have to prep that actually the person has something that shows. So, we used powder to prepare door handle. Here is the spray. It looks like that under the UV light. Without UV light, you wouldn't see anything. And then that's the result in the restroom. You see it's on the tiles there, on the wall up. If you then take the light, of course, your hand will show signs of the specific UV light I put there. So people most likely will click on it, or they will freak out and call the doctor. So that's why this attack vector was a bit over the top. Nevertheless, it's quite interesting what you can do with this type of things. Just let me go one back. Actually, this UV light stuff is part of a kit which is for testing biological hazards. It hasn't been used to test biological hazard. It has been misappropriated by me, but that's a part of social engineering. You need to be a master of utilization, and you need to misappropriate things to use them to your advantage, to your ideas. That's the whole part of it. That's the whole thing with humans, working with humans, and humans reacting to processes or inputs from the outside. So I think I'm done with time. Perfect. And questions? I will show you the link and the 2D barcode you can actually click on just right after this slide. But it's a clean link. You know, that's the problem with social engineering after my talk. People don't believe. People even don't believe there is a book. At one stage, I took a physical book with me to show that there is actually a book. But if you're once in this corner, I even sometimes forget my own identity and have to ask my wife in the morning, who am I? 64-bit rural, or I forgot. So no, I will show it to you, and probably if you have questions, I can take them now before the coffee break.